Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your man, Nathan, and if you are seeing me on your screen, you know it's time for another episode of No Label Live. And let me tell you, you guys have asked for this guest this week. You guys have hit me up on social media, and you're like, Nathan, you should get Steph on here. I really like her stuff. I like what she's doing. And I think she personifies the message of no label defines me. So with that said, our guest today is Steph Hammerman, and she is the first ever CrossFit Level 2 trainer with CP. She is a business owner, and she is on social media. Let me tell you, if you watch, it's motivating, not inspiring, motivating. It gets you out there to do what you want to do. So, Steph, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
And in your own words, who is Steph Hammerman?
Steph Hammerman is, first and foremost, I am an athlete. I am a business owner. I am a girlfriend. I am a dog mom. I am a lot of things. But all in all, the biggest, I guess, label that defines me is that I'm a person with passion, right? And so I don't really look at myself and put labels on myself, right? I'm in all different kinds of boxes, and I don't just think that you can kind of just stick yourself in one box and say like that's enough.
Yeah, I like that idea of boxes, and actually when you said that, I pictured jumping around from box to box at any given time. So have there been times in your life when you've been labeled by other people and that label had a major impact on you at the time and what you believed about yourself?
I don't I don't necessarily know that I was like labeled, I guess you'd say. I think growing up, obviously they had this idea of what the blueprint of my life was going to be like. And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of changed all that perception as I was growing up and really was told that, I'm able to do anything that's possible or in front of me. I just have to want to work hard enough to do it.
Okay, I like that. So what did that blueprint before you started to change it, what did that kind of look like?
So I was born with cerebral palsy, and being born with CP almost 30 years ago, they told my parents I may never read, speak, or even write. And so the
Mm-hmm.
fact that, not only do I speak and write, I can obviously read, and I take those abilities and I use them to my advantage, right? And I don't really take them for granted. Growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to be. It wasn't like I wanted to be a fitness personality. It wasn't like I wanted to own my own gym. These were just opportunities that kind of laid it in front of me. And, every opportunity was just a little step further. And, now I'm able to say that, I successfully opened my own space. And yesterday we were 7 months open, and I'm super proud of it.
Wow, yeah, that's a major accomplishment for sure. What speaking about that, so it's hammer driven fitness.
Yes.
What kind of started you on that journey?
So I probably wanted to really open my own gym about 4 years ago, and a lot of things kind of got in the way of really moving towards that goal. And then the biggest thing that happened was that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2016. And so when I was going through chemo, I had a conversation with my boyfriend Tyler and basically said, once chemo is over, like I think it's time for me to open my own gym. And so it definitely took a couple months to kind of figure out like where we were going to be and the location and all of that stuff. But I knew, the kind of space that I wanted to open quite a long time ago. And it's not just your everyday CrossFit gym. I love CrossFit. I love the company, but I also wanted to widen my audience. And so we are a CrossFit affiliate, but we don't have CrossFit in our branding name.
And what did that widening for the audience, what does that look like for you?
Oh, well, I have a ton of adaptive athletes. I have a bunch of people that are 55 and older, and I love working with that community, right? I love working with those people that don't think they can do CrossFit or don't think they can do fitness. And then I say, hey, why don't you come in and try a class? And all of a sudden they're doing things they never thought they were capable of doing. And so for me, every day that's a win, right? I don't care that you're, going to the games or not. Like, there's a very small population that does that, and there's a bigger population that just wants to get fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a misconception for people who think about CrossFit, and everybody thinks that I have to be a quote unquote competitive athlete to want to get in the gym sometimes, and that stops some people from even trying. Um, so I really love that message because I can relate. I found fitness to be a something that changed my life as well, with also having CP, and I share the message of wanting to show people that don't believe that they can go and get fit that it is possible. You just have to adapt and make it work for you, and I think it starts with that first step. So how did you go? You're now a business owner in a gym space. What was your journey in fitness like from the beginning? Did you ever start with, I don't know if this is for me?
Oh no, I have, I guess, always just wanted to chase something new. And
Mhm.
when I found CrossFit, it was 2012. I was kind of getting bored of doing hand cycling. I was a competitive hand cyclist for probably 4 years and kind of got bored of doing that. And once I was done with it, I jumped into CrossFit. And I didn't know if I could do CrossFit, but I kind of just wanted to figure it out. And that's always been my personality, right? Like, if I don't know something, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, then cool, we know it doesn't work. But if it does work, like, what are the opportunities that are created from that spark, right? And so, it's been 7 years now. Next month will be 7 years of the time that I came into my first CrossFit gym and changed my life forever. And like I said, I love the methodology of CrossFit, and I will be forever grateful for all of the opportunities it's given me. But at the same time, my grandfather's my biggest inspiration, motivation when it comes to what I do at the gym. And he's 81, right? And at 81, you're not doing box jumps, you're not doing thrusters, you're not doing all these crazy movements. Your ultimate goal is to stay as functional as you can so that you can be 101, right? And
Yeah,
so starting at an earlier age, I want to get people to start doing that.
that's awesome. So if I'm walking into your gym for the first time, and I'm coming in, I'm kind of hesitant, and I say, Steph, I don't know if this is for me. I don't believe that being fit is possible for me. What words of advice and wisdom do you have for me?
All I say is give me one class, and within the first 10 minutes, I will change your mind. And if I don't, that's fine. You can walk out. But I can tell you probably 9 times out of 10, people stay. And what's really cool is when people join the gym, they realize that it's not just a grungy garage, right? This is a space that people truly care about you and want to see you do well and want to see you succeed. I will never prepare my athletes for failure. I will always prepare them for success. Whether you are an adaptive athlete, you're 69 years old, or you're 6 years old. I don't care what your goals are. As long as you want to come in here and work, I'm here to help you. And so is my staff. I have an amazing group of people that help me. I'm not the only one that runs, the show around here. And I love that my staff has the knowledge and ability to handle all athletes and knows how to scale for people and feels comfortable working with anybody that comes into our door.
What would you say is the the biggest lesson you've learned from being a trainer?
I think it's to take yourself seriously, right? Because the minute you start doing that, the minute you start having confidence in your own abilities as a coach, it's going to show, right? And so as long as I have confidence in my ability to teach somebody to jump rope, to climb rope, to do a thruster, to do all these complex movements, even though I physically can't do it myself, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to change their perception of what fitness looks like, right? And so what's really cool about all of my athletes and my coaches is that they have this perception that being an adaptive athlete, being part of the adaptive community is no different than, being anybody else. So what's really cool is in here, being an adaptive athlete and the adaptive community is completely normalized. It takes about 5 minutes for an athlete to kind of forget about my chair, forget about my crutches. At the end of the day, they're here because of my knowledge, not because of what I use to get around.
I think that's powerful for people to hear. So, what would you say? What's one example of how, from the very beginning to now, you've been able to grow your confidence?
I was the worst coach ever. Probably like, I don't know, 3 years ago. Uh, maybe, I got not 3 years ago, I got my certification in 2013. And so, I think it's been a journey, but I would say from 2013 to really like 2014, 15, that's when I really started to hit my stride as a coach and really have confidence in my own ability, right? When you don't, and you're just like pointing at a whiteboard and telling people what to do, they can totally see through you. But when can instill confidence in other people by being confident in yourself, that's when it becomes pretty special.
And so, would you say that something that helped you build confidence was just showing up every day and doing the work?
Yeah, what's really interesting is I loved making mistakes. I loved looking stupid in a sense because it only taught me how to be better, right? I still make mistakes. I'm not a perfect coach. There are things that I want to work on, be better at, sharpen my skills all the time. I'm a pretty good coach, and uh, I take a lot of pride in that. But there's also so much that I can learn, right? And I come from a community of really one perspective, right? When I have athletes that are visually impaired, athletes with different limb amputations, like I don't necessarily live their life, and
Mm.
so there are things that I'm always having to learn and always having to kind of adapt to myself because it's not something that I live every day. But, if you're honest with your athletes, they're going to be honest with you. And so
Yeah.
if I don't know something, I'm going to learn how to get around that.
Yeah.
There's there's
Say
also
that you don't know it, right?
there's also tons of resources now. When I was starting as an adaptive athlete, there were none, or maybe one, right? And now
Yeah.
there are tons of resources regarding any adaptive need that you may have. So
Yeah. I really like this conversation. I think you're gonna add value to everybody who's watching. Um, so as I'm listening to the conversation, I'm thinking one thing, and it's if I'm a young person who has a disability and I've been told about things that I can't do, things that aren't possible for me, what What would you tell a younger person with a disability?
Just try it, right? Just try things. If I listened to every single person that told me I couldn't do something, I'd literally be like living in an assisted living home right now by myself, not feeding myself, not dressing myself, not doing anything, and not living a fulfilled life. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people out there that, you know, need help and don't have all of the abilities that I do. But at the end of the day, you're still a person, right? And you can't allow people to just set your future out in front of you. You have to create your own future, right? And so if I see a younger person with a different ability, you have to go case by case. And you can't allow people to make blanket statements about your life. Because if people made a blanket statement about my life, it'd be pretty boring.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that 100%. So try and take everything case by case. I really like that. Um, so where and how can people best connect with you?
People can best connect with me, obviously on social media. You can follow me at Steph the Hammer. You can always follow Hammer Driven Fitness on social media, or you can reach out onto the website Hammer Driven Fitness. There's a contact information. I'm always willing to take questions, answer any questions you may have. I also work with adaptive athletes and non-adaptive athletes remotely. So I have some athletes that really want me as a coach, but they don't necessarily live here in Nightdale. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to reach out and ask about it, and I'd love to give you more information.
All right, and I'll make sure and drop all that in the notes section and the comments below. Got a couple more questions. So first is, what can fitness do for someone's life that currently is sitting on the couch and not being active?
Fitness can change your life. The biggest word that I could say is fitness can literally change your life. Whether it is going for a walk and getting off the couch and, or literally, just taking 5 minutes out of your day to get up and move. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. It doesn't have to be, intense movement. Go for a walk, go for a swim, take your dog for a walk, or hang out with a friend. Being inside on the couch, I get it. There are some days where I totally want to just Netflix and chill and not do anything, but I don't make that an everyday habit, right? Because if I did, it's not very productive, right? And so if there's somebody out there who's struggling with inspiration, motivation, think about something that makes you happy. Fitness is what happens to make me happy. I come into my job every day and I have to pinch myself because I'm living my dream. But if that's not what makes you happy, and cooking makes you happy, pottery makes you happy, just do it, right? Get out and do something, because sitting at home on the couch is not a way to live a good quality life.
Yeah, do what makes you happy. Do what makes your heart sing.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say, because I heard you talk about this on another interview. So what would you say is the difference between inspiration and motivation?
Okay. this is this is
Yeah.
yeah, this is my favorite analogy, right? So think about inspiration as the spark. The spark is great, and that's what starts to create change and create a fire, but fire is what creates actual movement and change, right? So inspiration is the spark, motivation is the fire. Inspiration's all fine and good, but if you are inspired by something, what did I inspire you to physically go and do? You need to
Mhm.
have actual actionable, you know, or tangible tasks to be able to say, I inspired you to do XYZ. If I inspire you and then you tell me that you go stick your hand back in a bag of Cheetos, I feel like I haven't inspired you to do anything. Now, if
Yeah.
you tell me that watching me or meeting me or speaking to me inspires you, and then you happen to go chase your own dream, whether it's opening your own business, writing a book, or doing whatever you want to do, I know then I made a difference in your life. And that's the biggest compliment that I could ever receive.
Yeah, I really like that. The idea of going from an idea to the action of that idea. I really love that. And the last question is, when you think about the phrase, no label defines me, what does that mean to you?
Think about your name, right? Like, think about who you are as a person, right? And to me, I decided that, I'm going to live my life as Steph the Hammer or Steph Hammerman. And, someday I'm going to hopefully take my boyfriend's name. But at the end of the day, like, my identity comes from my name, not from a label, right? You could say all you want that I'm an athlete, but I'm also a business owner. I'm also a girlfriend. I'm also a dog mom, right? So I have all these labels, and at the end of the day, that all encompasses me. That encompasses Steph, right? People don't go around and introduce me as, oh, the girl in the wheelchair, right? No, they're like, oh, this is Steph, right? And so I really believe that people need to take that idea of labeling themselves away and just figure out who you are, who you want to be, whether that is, changing your name or whatever you want to do to make yourself happy. You have to live your own life. But to me, I don't believe in being labeled as just an adaptive athlete. I don't really ever use the word disability because I believe that I have way more ability than I do a disability. So I have different abilities, but everybody has different abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was born with a variety of different abilities. I can write with my right hand, but I can also write with my left hand. That's pretty cool. That's two different abilities, right? And
Yeah.
so for me, when I hear the word disability, I kind of I get kind of tired of it because I feel like it's old hat, and I understand that it's part of societal perception, but to me, I'm just Steph and I'm living the best life I can.
Man, good stuff. Good stuff. And I think that's everybody should aim to be themselves and really think about what it is they want to create with their life for sure. I want to acknowledge you because I know you are making a huge impact in the world, and you are inspiring and motivating people to take action in their life for sure. Because like I said, I get tons of messages from the people who watch, and they're like, hey, you need to check out Steph. And they're like, hey, you should go do CrossFit. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily for me, but I know.
Come on in and take one class.
Yeah. So if I'm ever up your way, I can definitely take you up on that.
You're more than welcome.
But I want to acknowledge you for sharing your story and being who you are and creating the perception of what is possible for people to create for themselves. Is there anything before we end the show that you want to leave the audience with?
Wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're watching this, do something. Be passionate about something because it's going to change your life. And that's the best piece of advice I could give people.
Go out and do something, and make sure if you found something in this interview that made you get up and take action, to let us know, leave us a comment, send us a message, and share this with somebody who needs that initial spark to then get motivated to take action for themselves. And you guys know, if you're watching this, you're up to big things. And when you're up to big things, you must be patient, you must be diligent, and you must never, never quit. And we will see you next Friday.